All right, bookworms, today we are diving into Steve Magness's Do Hard Things, Why We Get Toughness Wrong, and the Surprising Science of Real Mental Toughness. This book really challenges our conventional notions of what it means to be tough, and it offers a science-backed approach to cultivating inner strength and resilience. So buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey that will redefine how you view challenges and adversity. Magness starts off by pointing out how we often misunderstand toughness. The traditional view equates it with being hard-nosed, gritty, stoic, and emotionless. Think of the football player who pops his dislocated shoulder back in and gets back in the game, or the old-school coach who screams and berates his players. Magness argues that this is a broken model. It confuses toughness with callousness and machismo. He gives the example of Bobby Knight, the legendary basketball coach known for his winning ways, but also for his abusive behavior. Knight's teams were known for their toughness, but his methods included things like hanging tampons in players' lockers, cussing them out, and even physical abuse. Magness says this old-school model equates toughness with showing no weakness and bulldozing through obstacles, using fear to establish authority. This misunderstanding extends beyond sports. Authoritarian parenting, which is high on demandingness but low on responsiveness, is another example. These parents are controlling, use harsh punishments, and don't trust their children to make good decisions. They rely on fear and threats to ensure obedience. Magness notes that our language reveals our confusion about toughness. We talk about hardening up teams and individuals, romanticize the idea of the inner warrior, and equate toughness with masculinity. But this old model has serious consequences. The author recounts the tragic story of Jordan McNair, a University of Maryland football player who died from heat stroke after being pushed too hard during a conditioning workout. Coaches ignored his obvious signs of distress and even yelled at him to keep going. This is an extreme example, but it illustrates the dangers of prioritizing a callous view of toughness over the well-being of individuals. Research shows that authoritarian parenting and coaching styles lead to lower independence, more aggression, and a higher likelihood of substance abuse. It can also lead to emotional exhaustion, burnout, and fear of failure. Ironically, this misguided approach to toughness actually creates fragile and dependent individuals. Magness then argues that we've been conditioned to respond to fear and power, prioritizing external displays of strength over true inner strength. The reason we push through discomfort is because we imagine someone is standing over us yelling, or that if we fail, we will face punishment. Remove the fear, power, and control, and this tough individual is left without the necessary skills to navigate adversity. So, what is real toughness, according to Magness? It's about experiencing discomfort or distress, leaning in, paying attention, and creating space to take thoughtful action. It's about navigating discomfort to make the best decision you can, whether that means pushing through, adapting, or even stopping. The author contrasts Bobby Knight's approach with that of Pete Carroll, the successful football coach who emphasizes autonomy, inner drive, and embracing challenges. Carroll focuses on developing real toughness, replacing control with autonomy, fear with inner drive, and insecurity with quiet confidence. Interestingly, the military, often seen as the epitome of demanding toughness, has actually been at the forefront of developing real resilience. The Navy SEALs' Hell Week isn't about toughening people up, it's about identifying those who can handle extreme stress. The military has also implemented programs focused on mental skills coaching, stress management, and building a mental skills foundation. Magness emphasizes that stress inoculation, the idea of preparing people for stressful situations by gradually exposing them to discomfort, only works if individuals have already acquired the skills to cope. Otherwise, it's like throwing someone in the deep end of the pool before they know how to swim. The key is to shift from sorting, weeding out the weak, to development, teaching skills to handle adversity. Even the toughest individuals want to quit when faced with extreme discomfort. The inner battle between the desire to persevere and the urge to give up is normal. To illustrate this point, the author shares a personal story about a race where he experienced a breathing issue that led him to collapse. He had always prided himself on his toughness, but in that moment, his body failed him. This experience led him on a search to understand what real toughness is and how to control an inner world that often goes haywire. Now that the stage has been set, Magness introduces the 4 pillars of real toughness, which will be discussed in depth in the following chapters. It's like understanding there are better ways to ensure everyone learns the skills necessary to be truly tough. The first pillar of toughness: ditch the facade, embrace reality. Magness begins this section with an analogy about pacing in a mile run. Experienced runners adopt an even pacing strategy, relying on the sensation of effort to guide them. Toughness is about embracing the reality of where you are and what you have to do, aligning actual and expected demands. The author contrasts this with the approach of Alex Honnold, the free solo climber who famously climbed El Capitan without ropes. Honnold's brain scans showed a remarkably low response to disturbing images, suggesting that he has a unique ability to manage fear. But even Honnold experiences fear and has had to back off climbs when he didn't feel ready. The author explains that our bodies prepare for stressful situations based on our expectations. We experience a challenge response, seeing the stressor as an opportunity for growth, or a threat response, seeing the stressor as something that could cause harm. How we appraise ourselves and the situation determines which way we'll go. Tough individuals are able to perceive stressful situations as challenges instead of threats, thanks to a better assessment of what they encountered. This honest appraisal is all about giving your mind better data to predict with. Magness again shares a story from his coaching experience, highlighting an athlete named Drevin Anderson Kappa, who was able to maintain a clear head and perform under extreme stress. Drevin emphasized the importance of being honest with yourself and acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses. Stress exposes you. Those who are able to accurately describe what they encountered during stress and not losing that team focus were better at handling various elements of the mission. Based on these findings, the author provides actionable strategies for setting your mind on reality. Set appropriate goals. Choose goals that are just beyond your current capabilities. Set authentic goals. Choose goals that reflect your true self, not external pressures. Define judgments and expectations. Focus on process-oriented goals, rather than solely on outcomes. Course correct for stress. Recognize that stress alters your judgment and adjust your expectations accordingly. Prime your mind. Prepare your mind to search for opportunities, not threats. The second pillar of toughness: listen to your body. Magness starts this pillar off by describing alexithymia, a condition where individuals struggle to identify and describe emotions. While this is an extreme example, it highlights the importance of being able to understand and interpret our internal signals. The author explains that feelings and emotions, while closely related, serve a vital role in toughness, acting as messengers that help us navigate discomfort. Feelings, nudges or indicators of something different. Emotions, alarm bells that something has changed and that you need to do something about it. He emphasizes that feelings are predictive, not reactive. Our brain uses past experiences to anticipate what we need to survive or thrive, preparing us for what's to come. Interoception, a surveillance system throughout our body relaying information on changes in mechanical, chemical, metabolic, thermal, hypoxic, and hormonal states of just about every muscle, joint, and organ available. Our evaluation of the situation determines what kind of stress response we'll have: a challenge response, seeing the stressor as an opportunity, or a threat response, seeing the stressor as something that could cause harm. However, feelings are also subject to distortion. The author discusses the misattribution of arousal, where people misinterpret the source of their feelings. The experiment with the Capilano suspension bridge illustrates that we can misattribute these sensations. Therefore, we need to develop an accurate interpretation of what our body is telling us. Research shows that people with better interoceptive awareness are more likely to thrive under stress. To develop this awareness, we need to understand both awareness of feelings and sensations, interpretation and contextualization of feelings and emotions. The author encourages us to go deep into the experience of the situation to learn to distinguish the different factors within the interoceptive and exteroceptive experiences. He then offers practical exercises for improving emotional awareness. Go deep to understand nuance. Develop a vocabulary and label the feeling. The author ends the chapter by noting that feelings are meant to be messengers, not dictators. If we learn to manage our emotions and to see feelings as data, we are in a much better position to make effective decisions. The third pillar of toughness, respond instead of react. Here, the author opens by describing that even in the middle of the most difficult situations, we need to ensure we are still responding to the environment in a way that allows us to act instead of becoming paralyzed and unable to continue to function. The story of Stephen Callahan, who survived 76 days lost at sea, illustrates this point. Callahan divided his mind into different characters, a rational self and an emotional self. This allowed him to manage his fear and make the difficult decisions necessary to survive. This is the foundation of the modular mind. That as people, we have different selves who come to the forefront depending on the situation. Those modular minds tend to generate thoughts in our subconscious, and the thoughts that break through and reach our conscious awareness become our inner dialogue. This inner dialogue can be helpful to provide instructions, as well as also unhelpful. But according to the Hearing Voices movement, these voices are a way of making tangible our inner lives. So we can do something about what we feel. There is no good or bad. How you react in those difficult and dark times is what shapes those results. As the quote says, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Viktor Frankl. To keep that ability to be free, one must work to develop a strategy that allows them to respond and not just react. That is to have a calm conversation, which relies on 2 steps. Creating space. That is spending time alone in your head. You aren't trying to be with or against. There are all sorts of different things that your mind will go to, but what's important is the freedom in acknowledging them and moving on. Keeping your mind steady. To get started, be able to take what comes with calm acceptance. It is about understanding and responding instead of letting them overpower. There are also skills that can help you develop from those areas of the steps. Skills that come from long study in athletic and high-performance environment, and also from the spiritual. They will help you not only to push yourself, but listen to your body as well. When we have clarity on what we're feeling, we can keep that signal as informational with a little nudge versus an alarm bell that dictates and enforces. The fourth pillar of toughness. Transcend discomfort. Our final element, the building blocks, so to speak, of this concept of toughness, is all about understanding and building the foundation to allow for a person to do hard things. It starts and is the key to what can set this style of thinking apart from other toughness regimes, is what you are trying to create. What is that purpose? There are those who see the concept of the ends justifies the means, which is a way of being. That all that matters is what the intended outcome is, what you should focus all your efforts on. You will hear a lot about setting yourself up for success and having all the right tools in order to climb to the highest levels. And as important as that is, if you set your mind to only focus on the positive and to the point of ignoring red flags, you are making a mistake. A lot of the most important element, the secret sauce for the concept of toughness, is about that autonomy and inner drive, being able to move on when you have been thwarted, for it not to be as an end, but a chance to find a new beginning. Even after years, if there is not an internal push towards a goal, it will ultimately end up to waste. It can be just as easy to quit and lose what you have learned and worked towards. When a person has a basic sense of self-worth, they will look at what it means and why to continue or not with a purpose and passion. If you start to make all these moves, you need to make sure that people are also not operating on the wrong plane, that you aren't just helping them check the boxes, but you are actually making some real changes. And now we enter the 3 basic things that this book uses as a through line to show how a person can be tough. What are some specific aspects that leaders can take in to help to create this environment? Is it a controlling or a supporting environment? Can a person truly grow? Is there a sense of belonging? There is, even after coming all this way, one final piece. It can help explain what we want to get accomplished. What is the purpose? It needs to be more than just oneself. There needs to be an outward motion where a person looks towards everyone else and sees their success. And a true toughness will see to get to the place where there is a genuine and real sense of being a good person. The main takeaway. Traditional toughness is often misguided and can be harmful. It is far more sinister than helping people to grow and improve. Real toughness is about navigating discomfort with awareness, acceptance, and thoughtful action. It involves understanding your emotions, developing a steady mind, and aligning your actions with your values, with genuine support and care. That there needs to have help. The more that you work towards inner strength, that is what it is all about. Easy to remember heuristics. Ditch the facade, embrace reality, listen to your body, respond instead of react, transcend discomfort. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.